of nature, and nature will take care of us.
The ZNS community page now has its own home on Channel 230. Be sure to tune into this channel to see informative notices, funeral announcements, birthday greetings, and much, much more. So watch the ZNS community channel today on Cable 230.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
New year, new time. Watch Conversations with Christ every Sunday at 10 a.m. And I'll tell you why. Because God said 1,000 years is like a day for me. And that's why you could have a thief on the cross pray for just a few seconds and get forever, and get forgiveness, and get eternity. So every single Sunday for 30 minutes, we're going to praise God together. So every Sunday at 10 a.m., Conversations with Christ.
While it's encouraging that the national COVID-19 vaccine rollout is going successfully, it's not the only precaution to reduce the spread of the virus in our communities. It's important to continue practicing safety protocols because it is our social responsibility to protect ourselves and to protect others.
Wash your hands for a friend with a weaker immune system.
Only read and share information from trusted sources to avoid unnecessary panic.
I'm gonna need y'all to avoid these large crowds. We could have loved ones at home who have underlying health conditions. Do it.
Practicing safety protocols is an act of brotherly and sisterly love.
The life you save may just be yours as well as your neighbor.
Together we will win.
We will win.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, a two-day housing fair underway on Grants, Bahama. Also, a promise made and a promise kept to vendors. And it was nomination day for candidates in the upcoming school board elections. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Jamila Mizik. Thank you so much for tuning in. The government is moving ahead with an aggressive housing agenda to provide Bahamians with affordable housing. The ministry took its open house to Abaco a few weeks ago, and officials are now on Grants, Bahama for a two-day housing fair. Azure Quant has the story.
The Minister of Transport and Housing, Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis, officially launching the Grand Bahama Open House Fair today. And as you can see behind me, there are a number of businesses to assist Bahamians with getting their dream home.
Today marks the beginning of efforts by the Ministry of Transport and Housing under my leadership to bring quality, affordable housing solutions to the residents of Grand Bahama.
Minister of Housing and Transport, the Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis, expressing the Davis administration's commitment to deepening the path to home ownership for Bahamians. She says, as minister, the expo is a way to assess and deliver on that commitment.
This open house expo is being held by the Department of Housing to assess the appetite for public housing and to determine who can qualify for the homes we intend to build on Grand Bahama. My ministry is currently looking at our West Heights subdivision that has about 36 lots ready for construction. We have Pine Forest, where there are about 8 lots that we've identified right now that's ready for construction. We have the Heritage Community subdivision in Freeport. However, we are working very swiftly to acquire the land, and I'm advised that these discussions are ongoing with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and I think we are looking at about 100 lots at that one.
In helping the government meet its mandate in providing affordable homes, Minister Colby David adds that the development of their public-private partnership program goes a long way. She is inviting other private housing and construction firms to join them on this mission, saying that companies in Grand Bahama can also take part in the Pinecrest project in New Providence.
People are here as well that want to partner. I've just had a meeting today, no longer than today, with one of them, and many have sent in proposals. And so you do have persons here that are willing to partner with me in the department to make sure the mandate to build in the homes in Grand Bahama is also carried out.
Minister Colby Davis clearing the air and noting that while the department is committed to providing affordable housing, it is not free. She is encouraging Bahamians who are seeking assistance to put their financial affairs in order.
Please begin saving on your down payment if you haven't done so already, and make sure that you know your primary contact is the Department of Housing, where you will carry out an application process to ensure you have all of your documents ready, and then they will assist you in assigning you either to Mortgage Corp, who can provide financing, or any other commercial financer that you may see at our open house fair today.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, reflecting on the promises made by the Davis-Cooper administration. She is commending the Ministry of Housing and Transport on this latest effort.
It is truly a new day, and this Davis-Cooper-led administration is fulfilling the promises it made to the Bahamian people in our Blueprint for Change. We stated that we are committed to housing as a basic right, and we pledge to increase access to affordable housing by creating new incentives, and we've done it. We promise to empower Bahamians and return the Ministry of Housing to building homes for Bahamian people, and we've also done that. Minister Colby Davis, I anxiously await the groundbreaking and construction of these beautiful new homes in Grand Bahama with great anticipation. And I also congratulate the hard-working team of the Department of Housing on launching the open house and expo in Grand Bahama.
Now, Minister Colby Davis says homes are going up around the nation, and Grand Bahama is next. I'm Azure Quant, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Azure. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Grand Bahama issuing relief payments to vendors on Grand Bahama just as promised a little over a week ago. The first group of vendors getting their checks at the Harold Gregory building today, and the remaining vendors will be paid in the days ahead. As we hear in this report by Jay Philippe, it was a happy day for vendors showing up to collect their funds.
Some 65 straw market and associated vendors operating in the tourism industry received their $500 emergency financial relief grants as promised by the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie. The grants coming after a recent tour of the Port Lucaya Marketplace by the Minister for Grand Bahama and the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper. Late last month, the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, announced that emergency relief payments would be made by April 8th.
Very excited to be able to do this today. It's actually the first in a set of distribution that will happen. Yes, we were in Port Lucaya a couple of weeks ago and just heard the cries of the vendors there and what they've been experiencing with lack of tourist flow and all that. It was actually during the period of meetings that we were having on the sale of Grand Lucaya, and we went there, heard the cries, and immediately the next day had a cabinet meeting where a paper was presented and approval was given to be able to bring some immediate relief.
In addition, the Minister for Grand Bahama adds that there is an active plan in motion in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism that is expected to attract traffic in the Port Lucaya Marketplace that is geared towards enhancing the experience for visitors and locals during cruise ship days.
You have people who have been hurting so long. We're also working on a number of other issues that the vendors would have addressed. You know that we had some additional cruise calls that came in. We ensured that many of them went to the Port Lucaya marketplace. We are also working on the beach access to make it a better experience so that the visitors would want to come into the Port Lucaya marketplace area. So it's a holistic approach that we're taking. We're also looking at entertainment in the marketplace to ensure that again, visitors would want to come there. And then those that come there, that they say that they had a good time.
These vendors say they are grateful for the assistance from the government.
I feel very good about it, you know. I thank you all very much, you know. As a strawman, you know, Port Lucaya was doing very bad, and I thank God for you all, you know. We've been suffering too much during the COVID, you know. So I thank God for you all. And thank God the tourism is picking back up, you know, and they get a boat coming.
I feel so great and proud for it. I thank her for it.
For vendors who have not done so as yet, the Minister for Grand Bahama is urging those vendors to follow up with the ministry's head office to verify their documents and business license so they are able to collect their funds in the coming days. I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, announcing earlier this week that the government expects to have an exclusive contract for the purchase of the Grand Lucane Resort by the end of April. Tonight, we have reaction from vendors of the neighboring Port Lucaya marketplace who say this is certainly welcomed news. An April 30th timeline has been set for when the government expects to have an exclusive contract for the purchase of the Grand Lucane Resort. According to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, the government has 3 substantial offers that he believes are acceptable to government and the public. These vendors in the Port Lucaya marketplace say they think the sale would mean well for the area.
I am very, very excited because of people, Bahamian people, will be getting jobs because they desperately need it. Jobs to take care of their family and so on. The hotel is open, we will get the tourists automatically. And I just trust in God that everything goes smooth. Right now, it is sometimes up and down. And you know, we normally get people from Pelican Bay. They'll come over, or Tino Beach from the ferry. But sometimes the SDs comes. So we thank God that we are still here.
I think more tourists will come to support our business, you know. I think more will come, including the ship people, you know. I want to see more happen for Port Lucaya, you know, and for the hotel, and more jobs.
I feel good about it. I feel real good about it. I feel like there's hope. There is hope, and I feel like it's going to do real good for the vendors here in Port Lucaya, even the vendors all over the island.
And they say the sale of the Grand Lucane Resort should have a positive trickle-down effect for the entire island of Grand Bahama to benefit.
That'll be good for the whole of Grand Bahama. For us, especially taxi drivers, once they can't come in on the ship, Grand Classica, or the airport. Once it goes in taxis, it'll benefit us. But right now, at this point, it doesn't benefit us because everything goes in buses. And for Port Lucaya, like you can see, there's no one here, so it'll benefit Port Lucaya a lot. And definitely the casino have to be open. That's a plus.
Each vendor have a family, remember? And each family then, after the vendor would have gone home, and carry whatever they accomplish out here. When they carry home to their family, then the kids got books, they got food in the house, they can pay the water bill, they can pay the light bill, pay the cable bill, you know, without any hang-ups.
For one of the most resilient communities in the Bahamas, it isn't going to be major. A lot of people have been holding firm for a long time, waiting on this type of news, but it's going to be a positive domino effect. The businesses, after, of course, the storm and, you know, pandemic, it's going to be one of those things that really is going to uplift the community in a long term. And hopefully it's not one of those things that people just shake their head at.
Now, once the deal is complete, the DPM says he anticipates the creation of 500 to 1,000 jobs during construction over an 18-month period. Minister Cooper adding that the government also hopes for a phased approach to keep the rooms at Lighthouse Point and keep staff employed. In other news, it was nomination day for members for school boards and public schools on Grand Bahama. Candidates filing nomination papers for the April 29th elections. Those who are successful are expected to serve on school boards and assist with the operations of public schools. Principal at Jack Hayward Junior High School, Joyanne Penniman, says the nomination process began at 9 a.m. and 6 nominees presented at the school. She's sharing the importance of having the board in place.
The school board falls under the Education Act, and so because of legislation, it is very important. They play a vital role in assisting the principal and the community, students at large, in running the school, seeing about the affairs of the school, maintenance, contract workers if needed, educational and tuition material. It also outlines in the Act the hiring of teachers if need be. So I find that the role of the school board is very important.
Over at the Jack Hayward Senior High School, Principal Bronwyn Smith says nomination day went well despite the small turnout.
Well, there were only 3 who actually nominated today. And for our school, for a school of A school, we can have up to 9. Okay, because we had less than what is expected of us, we will have to perhaps get appointees, but we will get some further word from the parliamentary, because we have to turn everything in, and once they approve that, then we'll take to the next step.
At the Hugh Campbell Primary School, Principal Rodney Bethel says the board plays an integral role for the school's development. The school board can include both parents and teachers. Those applying say they did so to make Hugh Campbell a better place.
It's very important, though, that the school board knows the vision of the principal and administration, because knowing that vision, they will play an important role in the school fulfilling its mission.
I've always loved being a part of education where it matters, and one of the places where it matters is being a teacher, but we could only do so much. And so being a school board member, you'll be able to assist a bit further in getting things done for the kids as well as for the teachers.
Now these nominees are looking forward to making a difference.
Based on being a teacher and a parent, I want to see what's needed and what's best for the children and teachers. I want to see that it's done in the best interest of both.
I applied for a school board member because I have a student here at Hugh Campbell, the best school in Grand Bahama, as well as I'm a teacher. So being both, I'll be able to better accommodate or know what the school needs, as well as the students, as well as staff members of Hugh Campbell.
Elections will be held on April 29th. A meeting was scheduled to take place today between the Ministry of Grand Bahama and members of the business community. However, that meeting was canceled by the business owners, adamant that all stakeholders be involved in the meeting. Tonight, Ramiko Knowles has clarification on what led to the cancellation.
The residents and business owners of Grand Bahama will not accept the meeting with the minister if the Grand Bahama Port Authority is not allowed to be in that session.
In a letter addressed to the Ministry of Grand Bahama from the business community and residents on March 29, 2022, members of the business community stated that during their meeting with executives of the GBPA, the Port Authority expressed their challenges in moving forward with some key concerns due to lack of support from government. The letter concluded by saying the success of Grand Bahama hinges on the working partnership between the GBPA and government. Therefore, they are calling on the Davis and Cooper administration to accept a meeting on or before April 25th, 2022.
We would have requested a meeting with the Honorable Minister and the Grand Bahama Port Authority. In our correspondence, they would have acknowledged the receipt of this letter
And they also state in their letter that they are prepared and they are willing to meet with all relevant stakeholders. The Grand Bahama Port Authority plays a major role in the growth and the development of Grand Bahama, and so we need them at the table.
In a follow-up letter addressed to Cooper from the Ministry of Grand Bahama on April 4th, 2022, it was stated that it was the expectation of the office to engage with a small team of concerned business owners, not executives of the Port Authority.
And in the letter they said that the Port Authority has not identified or even made clear their presence or wanting to be there. We have the document from the Grand Bahama Port Authority from the President who state that the Grand Bahama Port Authority executives has cleared their schedule for the 8th of April at 10 a.m. to make sure that they be present to this meeting to bring closure to a lot of misconception and a lot of information that has not been cleared over the years.
Now, in response, the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, says since coming to office, the Ministry for Grand Bahama has actively engaged stakeholders, civic organizations, business leaders, and residents of the community. She says there is no issue with communication.
They actually showed up this morning and held a press conference. They did not show up to the meeting that they had requested with us because they said because the Port Authority was not invited to the meeting. Like I've said before, there is no need for a mediator between the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the Ministry for Grand Bahama or the government of the Bahamas. We are having ongoing discussions on matters that impact Grand Bahama Island.
She adds that this is no time for politics and grandstanding, as they are working each day to create jobs, entrepreneurial opportunities, reopen the Grand Lucayan Hotel, as well as establish a PPP for the restoration of a world-class airport and break ground for the new cruise port in East Lucaya, Grand Bahama.
The government of the Bahamas has had high-level discussions with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. The Ministry for Grand Bahama has also had various meetings with executives of the Port Authority on matters that affect Grand Bahama Island. There is not a communication issue.
The Honorable Ginger Moxie says they are still open to meet with the group of individuals.
The Ministry for Grand Bahama is open to having a meeting with the group. We had the meeting scheduled for this morning at 10 a.m. and the group did not show up. And so again, we welcome the meeting. But it's up to this group to show up to the meeting that they had requested.
Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Ramiko. Now to tonight's Grants Bahama Facts Trivia, sponsored by the Ministry of Grants Bahama and Western Air. But you have to go to our Facebook page to give the answer.
At Western Air, located in Freeport, Grand Bahama, you'll find a fleet of Embraer jets. Which luxury car brand powers the engines of Western Air's EMB 145 jets? Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, General Electric. Stay tuned to the end of our newscast to find out. Season 1 of Grand Bahama Facts is sponsored by the Ministry for Grand Bahama. This trivia segment was also sponsored by Western Air.
Esquire Men's Freeport presents Passion for Fashion, Saturday, April 23rd from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Lucaya Shopping Center. Admission is free.
What? Check old girl, boy. You say she getting married?
Come on down to Dolly Madison Home Center's Easter Week Lawn and Garden Department Sale. Going on from April 11th to 16th. Deals galore. Don't miss it.
Come on down now.
Bethel's Air Conditioning and Refrigeration, number 3 Milton Street, wants to shower you with love with a 20% off store-wide sale for the month of February. Call 602-5467. Certain restrictions apply.
KMW Battery and Tires, oil change.
Oil and filter not included. Labor starts at $35. Open up Mondays to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in today.
It's Third Dimension's Easter sale. Take 20% off their home improvement store. Tiles and doors not included. Cash, debit, credit card purchases only. April 8th and 9th. Spring into savings at any of Modiva's 2 locations and save 25% off. And guys, check out their men's casual wear selection at the East Sunrise location. Shop Modiva's where they dress you from head to toe.
Breaking news as it happens in the palm of your hands. Download the ZNS app and keep up with your favorite radio stations, breaking news articles, and live coverage wherever you are. The ZNS app, available in the Android and iOS store.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. And now it's time for sports with Jay Philippe, who joins us live tonight from the Emera Baseball Park.
The League Baseball. Yes, baseball is back here on Grand Bahama. We are live at the Emera Baseball Park on Queens Highway for Little League Baseball. And right behind me right now is a game between the Buccaneers Maroon and also the Lions. Now, these two teams are juggling for the playoff position that is right around the corner. In fact, this game is in the bottom of the third inning right now. The score is now 2-1. But yesterday there was a very important game in coach pitch between the Red Sox and also the Predators. Let's take a look at that action. It was a battle between Fortune 360 and the Lions in Major League play. Both teams looking to get in the win column before their next game this Saturday. Let's pick up the action in the third inning. The Lions battle with a hit to Tyler playing the shortstop position, who makes the routine ground ball play for the out. Next batter up with a hit, this time towards the second baseman to end that inning. Left-hand pitcher for the Lions, Thaddeus on the mound, lets a wild pitch get away, which brings in a run for Fortune 360. Up next, Thaddeus makes up for the wild pitch by sending this batter to the dugout to end the inning. Overall, it was a low-scoring game as both teams played exceptional defense, bringing this game to a tie at 3 runs each. Moving along to Little League action in coach pitch, this one was a high-scoring game between the Red Sox and the Predators. Early in the game, the Predators with a pop-up in the outfield, the batter was able to advance to second base. The Red Sox now at the plate, J.C. Wilchcomb with a hit to the shortstop in what should have been a routine ground ball play. Didn't go that way. Instead, it turned out to be an in-the-park home run by the youngster. Next batter of the Red Sox with a base hit single by Bruce Russell to keep the inning going. The Red Sox again with another hit into left field as they came away with a W in a close one. The final score was 11-10. As you can see with those highlights, that was a very competitive game between the Buccaneers. In fact, the Buccaneers are one of the top teams in this year's league. And I have with me Mr. Trevor Russell, one of the executive members of Little League Baseball. Trevor, baseball is back in Grand Bahama. I know it's a passion for you.
Hey, baseball is back and it's hot. It's hot. It started with a boom, and it looks like it's going to end with a bang around here.
Yesterday, I had quite a few games. Now, I understand that Saturdays is the big day for baseball, but throughout the week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are games each and every evening.
Well, of course, you know, we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and big game Saturday. That's what they refer to it as around here. Big game Saturday, because all of the fields are filled, and, man, this is where it's at.
Important question. I know we are still in the COVID environment.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing to ensure that players, parents, and coaches are safeguarded during this time?
Well, we have dispensers in all of the dugouts, and we have somebody manning the gates. So basically, when you come here, we make sure you sanitize, and that's about it.
Tell us a little bit more about Coach Pitch. How does the division run, and how are these kids able to play?
Well, with Coach Pitch baseball, it's basically with the coach is basically just lobbing the ball to the, they're learning more fundamental baseball at this point.
That is Trevor, one of the executive team members of Little League Baseball. And again, this is a very hot game right now between Buccaneers Maroon and Lions. Ladies and gents, baseball is back in Grand Bahama. Sports is back. Jamila, thank you. Thank you for tuning in for sports.
Esquire Men's Freeport presents Passion for Fashion, Saturday, April 23rd from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Lukaya Shopping Center. Admission is free.
What? Check old girl, boy. You say she getting married?
Oh, man, not again.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join this man's BTC home internet with this woman BTC mobile service in holy matrimony. So they'll pay half the price compared to the other guys.
What's wrong with you? Just let them.
Madam, do you have BTC mobile service?
I do.
Sir, do you have BTC home internet to unite with her mobile service?
I do.
Get all the internet you want at half the price when you bundle your home internet and mobile service.
So, what services do you have?
Me? I have BTC at home and on my phone.
Visit any BTC store to make the switch today.
Visit Dollar Deals today for your Easter baskets, candies, toys, and so much more. We're located at number 2 Old Sam Plaza.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Penny Pratt, you are our Facebook friends of the day. We thank you for supporting us.
At Western Air, located in Freeport, Grand Bahama, you'll find a fleet of Embraer jets. Which luxury car brand powers the engines of Western Air's EMB 145 jets? Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, General Electric. If you guessed Rolls-Royce, you are correct. Season 1 of Grand Bahama Facts is sponsored by the Ministry for Grand Bahama. This trivia segment was also sponsored by Western Air.
Don't forget to tune in again on Wednesday for another trivia question sponsored by the Ministry of Grand Bahama and Western Air. And that's going to do it for us here in the North. On behalf of the entire ZNS News team, I'm Jamila Mizik. Thank you so much for joining us. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, thought given to anti-gang legislation. Quarterly GDP trends released. Churches back at full capacity. And Jazz Chisholm to be celebrated. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
This portion of the news is brought to you by BTC Super Fast Internet for Less. Best rate, no debate. Sign up today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lopinder, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks for tuning in. The gang war sparking so much cause for concern that consideration is being given to legislation to address this very issue. The Prime Minister disclosing as much during his appearance at Thursday's weekly press briefing at his Cable Beach office. Carla Palmer has the details.
Homicides, drugs, guns, gangs, and their connectivity are the principal crimes local police are confronted with solving almost on a daily basis, certainly so far this year for the month of March.
We have noticed this spike with respect to homicides, which began the last week in February and which continue on into the entire month of March and right into the first week in April. In the month of March, we recorded a total of 22 murders. I think that is one of the highest months ever in the history, 22 murders. But I'm pleased to say at this time that out of the 22 in March, we have solved 11 of those matters.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda acknowledges the majority of increased homicides are tough wars over drugs as the root cause for the gang violence.
Based on the victims in the month of March, we have discovered that 4 of the victims, the deceased persons, were on bail for murder and were being monitored. Persons charged with respect to their matter, we noticed that there were 3 being monitored and on bail for murder. It is clear now, very clear, that these murders are pretty much, the majority of them are connected.
As a deterrent, authorities have launched Operation Ceasefire in hotspots they have identified, like Ridgeland Park, Kemp Road, and Fox Hill, and have enacted saturation patrols in other areas of Bainstown, Grantstown, and The Grove.
The officers who are attached to this unit were carefully selected, who are familiar with the gang culture and who are familiar with the majority of the criminals out there. We have a mandate to target those prolific offenders and gang members to disrupt their operation.
Authorities say the gang problem is a serious one here in the country, to the extent that Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis is considering specific legislation just on gangs and related activities.
One of the things I've just been looking at is the possibility of enacting, for example, an anti-gang bill, a bill that be independent, that just address gang behavior, gang membership, and giving persons, giving the police the ability to have charges made under that anti-gang bill. I'm looking at it now to make a recommendation to the commissioners of police and the Attorney General to see whether and how that could come within our constitutional construct.
To address further the issue, recommendations have also been made to relocate the Gang and Firearms Unit from the Central Criminal Investigations Department to a separate facility. Without disclosing a location, DCP Fernanda says that Gang and Firearms Unit is presently being relocated. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
The government's legislative agenda also includes plans to revise the country's laws regarding citizenship. As it stands, the act disproportionately affects a number of citizens, including the children of Bahamian women married to foreign spouses. However, a change to the law would give both Bahamian men and women the right to pass on their citizenship. Attorney General the Honorable Ryan Pinder says while previous governments have fallen short in doing so through failed referendums, the Davis administration is looking to close the gap.
And we know the Constitution provides inequalities in that regard. And as the former Prime Minister Ingram had mentioned a few weeks ago, this could also be done by legislative action. And that's what we're looking at. We have an initial draft of a Citizenship Act prepared. We're going through it, I'm refining it, and we hope to be able to present that before Cabinet in rather short order as one of our commitments on human rights matters and the United Nations Human Rights Council.
Pinder adding that the proposed legislation should be presented to Cabinet this summer.
You cannot justify, inequalities amongst your people in the country. I mean, that is a position that's very hard to justify and rather unjustifiable. And certainly those human rights elements are high on the agenda. For too long, they have been ignored or pushed the can kicked down the road. And frankly, we have to treat our people better. We have to empower equality amongst our people, and that's a primary objective.
In other news this evening, the local economy may have made a gradual recovery last year coming out of heavy hitters Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic. But truth is, this wasn't enough to regain the same level of GDP as it did in 2019. Advance estimates for all 2021's quarters save the first to show year-over-year increases compared to the previous year. However, the Bahamas National Statistical Institute cites that the most notable real quarter GDP growth of 34% occurred in the second quarter, and this was followed up by a third quarter increase of 27%. Progress in domestic business activity was seen in the improvement in the success of quarterly outcomes. Of course, this when each quarter was compared to the previous. Well, still to come, local expectations of COVID infections and churches given the nod for full attendance. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight. Stay with us.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Welcome to a world where hope is still loud, where dreams are still relevant, and determination has no substitute. Welcome to a nation where the people are still warm, resilient, and innovative. And Commonwealth Bank is at the center of it all, giving innovation and progress an extra push for more than 60 years. We're here for Bahamians because we are Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, your leader in personal banking services.
What? Check old girl, boy. You say she getting married?
Oh, man, not again.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join this man's BTC home internet with this woman BTC mobile service in holy matrimony. So they'll pay half the price compared to the other guys.
What's wrong with you? Just let them...
Madam, do you have BTC mobile service?
I do.
Sir, do you have BTC home internet to unite with her mobile service?
I do.
Get all the internet you want at half the price when you bundle your home internet and mobile service.
So, what services do you have?
Me? I have BTC at home and on my phone.
Visit any BTC store to make the switch today.
What makes an icon? Is it 80 years in the business? Or inventing a recipe that changes the way we enjoy chicken around the world? No. What makes an icon are the fans. Order KFC and take home a true mealtime icon.
Nassau family, it's your girl, Benita Jones, and I want to invite all of you to the Holy Week Revival, April 14th and 15th at 7 p.m. nightly at the Southland Church of God Cathedral. Listen, you don't want to miss it. Bishop Paul S. Morton Sr. is going to be there, and Pastor Tolan Morgan, and I'll be there lifting up the name of Jesus in worship. Come on out, let's praise the Lord, and let's celebrate our Savior together. See you there.
Wouldn't it be satisfying to own your own piece of paradise? The most important investment you can make in your life is real estate, and Fidelity has the solution for you. You could become the owner of a home or a lot on any of our beautiful islands. Come and talk to a loan officer and inquire about how you can fund your goals with a loan today. Because we know it means a lot to own a lot. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or visit any of our branches. Or phone 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 for Freeport.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies Limited. If it's healthcare, it's here.
Another day of double-digit COVID cases, this time 10, 8 of the newly infected on New Providence, the other 2 on Exuma. Making up the count, 7 males and 3 females. Hospitalizations unchanged at 9. What's even better is that we've marked another day with no one being treated for the illness on the intensive care unit. As of April 7th, there were 102 active cases, 8 recoveries, and 147 RT-PCR tests were completed. Meantime, churches and places of worship getting the stamp of approval for 100% occupancy. The COVID-19 Advisory Committee giving the go-ahead for the return of 100% attendance. However, the adherence of COVID-19 protocols still a must, and that's the wearing of face masks, sanitization, physical distancing, and the encouragement of attendees to be vaccinated. Meantime, the recent relaxation of COVID-19 rules remain in effect. For instance, as it relates to social gatherings held outdoors, namely parties, concerts, fetes, carnivals, fairs, junkanoo parades, and/or practice rallies, all attendees must be fully vaccinated or present a negative COVID-19 test. Now, health officials have stated that the COVID rules allow for flexibility and adjustments will be made as the need arises to respond to the changing variables of the pandemic. And with churches now given the green light to operate at full capacity, residents are cautioned not to let their guards down as the pandemic is not over. The health minister says they're keeping their fingers on the pulse of COVID-19, the elusive enemy.
For the second time in a week, the country has recorded double-digit COVID-19 cases, with 14 last Saturday and 15 this past Wednesday. This following an extended stretch of reported single-digit infections. With the BA2 Omicron subvariant now the dominant strain in the U.S., accounting for 3 and 4 cases, could it be that the Bahamas is on the cusp of a 5th wave?
It's always a possibility. That's the reason why we're taking samples and we're sending them to a reference lab to determine whether the strain is in the country. We're watching what is happening in the United States and even in Europe, and we're preparing ourselves. Should the event that we see a surge, we know exactly what we would have to do, because the first thing that comes to mind is to protect the population.
It took some time for government to get confirmation of the Omicron variant in the country from samples sent abroad. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, however, expressed hope of getting the latest samples sooner.
Discussions are ongoing with the reference lab to try to do that very quickly, because some of our new protocols and plans are directly linked if we confirm that the new strain is in country.
Darville's comments come as local health officials acknowledge that 18 of the latest cases had a travel history within 14 days. While mindful of the reported uptick, here's what he reasons could account for those figures.
Some of the numbers are reflected of 2 or 3 days of calculations, and so I'm discussing with our team about trying to get the numbers reported on a daily basis so that we don't see a low number and then all of a sudden we see double digits. But COVID is still in the Bahamas. We're watching it, and we're watching how the numbers may increase and what we would do, and our plans are in place to tighten up the rules in the event we begin to see another major cluster or outbreak.
Darville says his ministry is working along with the Ministries of Finance and Tourism to open the economy in a balanced way, but not to keep cases at zero, as the populace must learn to live with the virus. Up to Wednesday, there were 100 active cases of COVID-19 in the country. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Well, officials of the Pan American Health Organization confirming exactly what you just heard is happening locally, a sudden increase in COVID cases. PAHO Director Dr. Carissa Etienne pointing out during this week's briefing that across the Caribbean, 15 countries and territories saw a surge mirroring Omicron's sublineage BA2 spreading through Europe and East Asia.
Along with increasing tourism and travel, and the relaxation of public health measures, Omicron circulation is driving the new COVID surges that we are seeing. we cannot ignore the risk of further COVID-19 surges in other parts of the region. We must face it together with caution, but also with confidence, because we know what it takes to protect our people.
According to Etienne, more than 685 million people in the region have completed their vaccination schedules, and 50 countries and territories have already begun to deliver additional doses and booster shots to the eligible populations.
The addition of this booster dose to the primary series is key for people at higher risk for severe COVID, who may need an additional dose to remain as protected as everyone else. But the gaps that still exist will keep our region at risk during future waves. Despite all of our efforts and efforts of member states, 240 million people in the Americas have yet to get a single shot of COVID vaccine.
Now, local vaccine distributions to temporarily stop for the Easter holiday on Wednesday, April 13th. It resumes Tuesday, April 19th at 10 a.m. Now, as a reminder, on Monday, April 11th through Saturday, April 16th, both the Mall at Marathon, Robinson Road, and the South Beach Health Center are available for the shots from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. What are your numbers? It's the answer to that question that health officials sought to provide individuals during a health screening fair. You see, according to a 2019 STEP survey, 4 out of 10 Bahamians walk around with chronic illnesses like high blood pressure without even knowing. Event organizer nurse Barsha Smith says after noticing a steep decline in the number of Bahamians receiving annual health screenings, it was important the ministry host this event.
It is so important that we know what our numbers are. Many times we're walking around and we feel healthy, but it does not mean that there isn't something going wrong in our bodies. And unfortunately, many times we will wait until we are having symptoms in order to get a checkup. But if you are having your annual physical done every year, you can see your numbers, your blood sugar levels, your blood pressure levels, your cholesterol levels. And that screening will be a guide for you to say, okay, I need to make some lifestyle changes.
Well, speaking of health, Governor General, His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Cornelius Smith remains in Doctors Hospital under observation by his medical team. Press Secretary Clint Watson telling our news team the GG continues to rest comfortably. The head of state fell ill following his address to students of P.A. Gibson Primary in Hatchet Bay, North Eleuthera yesterday. His Excellency was seen by a physician at the local clinic, but out of an abundance of caution, he was airlifted to Nassau for further medical evaluation. And tonight, condolences extended to Dr. the Honorable Michael Darville, Minister of Health and Wellness. The Permanent Secretary, senior executive team, and staff of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, along with other cabinet colleagues, expressing deepest sympathy to Dr. Darville on the passing of his mother, Blonvina Darville.
And remember to tune in to the Morning Edition with LaDawn Davis and Charles Fisher at 7 o'clock weekday mornings. We also have news updates at every hour, starting at 2 p.m. You can then watch the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, at 6:30, and the National Report live at 7 p.m., all right here on the ZNS Network.
When you testify in court, you're expected to tell the truth. Same goes for your insurance application form. You have to answer every question truthfully and provide all the information requested, or you could be found guilty of misrepresentation. That means your insurance company could deny your policy or refuse to pay your claim. Your insurance company relies on the information you provide to determine whether to issue you a policy. Leaving out just one piece of information could lead to misrepresentation. So read your application form carefully. If you're unsure about anything, ask your insurance agent or broker before completing and signing your insurance application form. This message was brought to you by the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas, protecting the interests of policyholders.
From the time we open, we create moments of joy for everyone we serve. We use every encounter to show how we are different. Stop in and enjoy our freshly prepared breakfast on the go for your family. Or even having your favorite food delivered where you can easily connect with your friends. Our commitment is serving you quality food from our restaurant. Go ahead and dip your French fries in your Frosty. Cheers to better days ahead. That's what makes Wendy's different on the inside and out.
Tourism today. Bahamas tourism today.
Embracing the next crop of local talent, Marcus at Bahama teams up with the University of the Bahamas to create a memorable culinary experience.
I was super excited to be here. It's actually my first cooking demo in this kitchen. I was super excited about that, and doing it for the students. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, when I have the chance to come here, we do a lot of different things. We celebrate, first of all, us working together, which is a lot of fun. And then we do menu changes. And then we have also an event up top at our beautiful bar atop of Marcus Restaurant. And hopefully, you know, my son and I get a chance to go in the water park as well. That's like one thing I have to do, besides all the food and the cooking and working with the team. But it's always fun to come to Bahama. It's always fun to be on the property. Working with Chef Garrett and Chris is a lot of fun, and we want to do something that felt very special and local, so that's why the conflict is a perfect way to start. And after that, we're going to have a seafood pasta. Everyone enjoys pasta. Everyone enjoys seafood, so it's a easy, delicious dish, but I have a couple of tricks that makes it really delicious and fabulous. You know, our restaurant, we're a chop house, but right now when it's getting warm, I think eating fresh seafood is one of my, you know, locally caught fresh seafood is definitely one of my favorite thing about being here. And, you know, looking out of the dining room, right, we see the ocean, we see the water constantly. So for me, it's just connect with the seafood that you had here on the islands.
To experience dining at Marcus, visit bahamar.com/culinary. I'm Joshua Robbins, and this is Tourism Today.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A friend that you can trust. Family Guardian.
Life is better with Rubis Rewards. Just fuel up and swipe for your chance to win free fuel, cash back in our stores, restaurant and store discounts from our partners, plus prizes and surprises. It doesn't get better than this. Your Rubis Reward tag is free at every Rubis service station in New Providence. Get yours today. Rubis, it's just better.
Hungry and looking for something so satisfying? Something to truly tantalize your taste buds? Then make it Charlie's, the home of the #1 cheesesteak in the world. Also serving up a variety of delicious wings, freshly cooked to order under 10 minutes. With 2 locations to serve you. Mall at Marathon, open from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. And the East-West Highway, next to Solomon's, from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. That's Charlie's, the home of the #1 cheesesteak in the world. 393-3100.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
There's a global push to move away from fossil fuels to reduce the fallout of climate change. Here at home, additional options are being explored. You see, while the laws of the Bahamas allow for oil drilling and extraction, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis says a policy decision is being drafted on the matter.
At the end of the day, climate change is real, and the contributing factors to that is related to not oil drilling, but oil use. And so there has to be a distinction between drilling and extraction. There is mechanisms to know that you have oil and monetize the oil whilst it's still in the ground. But at the moment, we are exploring monetizing our blue carbon and monetizing that, and we think that will be sufficiently monetized for us not to even look at even oil drilling.
The Prime Minister further assured that steps are being taken to bring some relief to motorists in the face of soaring prices at the pumps.
I've engaged with several of our shipping agencies, and I've been able to work out an arrangement with one of them that has already agreed and has already put in effect the reduction of the cost of containers coming into the country.
In related news, supply chain challenges impacting what items local grocers stock on their shelves. It's an issue our Cleopatra Murphy explored with the owner of one of the smaller grocery stores, who spoke to the challenges of inflation.
Inflation and the rising cost of goods is wreaking havoc when it comes to customer shopping habits, with at least one food store owner saying he has seen a dent when it comes to sales.
There has been a lull, I would say, in the spending habits of locals, Bahamians, or the populace at large. With the escalation of prices, increase in gas, and everything is tied to it. So therefore, we anticipate it's the same thing all around. The buying power, I guess, is not as strong as it normally is.
Economists have credited Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine for recent soaring oil prices, leading to the latest round of inflation impacting the cost of the food consumers purchase. CNN reports that in February alone, the cost of energy soared nearly 26%, while the cost of food in the U.S. rose 8%. The grocer admits that he has been forced to increase his own prices.
Yes, we have to change some prices on stuff because every day, everything that's coming in now is, like I say, gas has increased tremendously, so therefore, the price is going to be affected at the register. So there is significant increase in certain items. Like take, for instance, for a jar of mayo, used to be $5 something, now it's $7 something. So that's a big significant jump.
Major says 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic and initial disruption to supply chain demands have added to the 1-2 punch the Russia-Ukraine war is having on business, all impacting what customers pay at the point of sale.
Purchasing is also a problem as far as logistically getting your stuff in. Most of the times you order now, they're out of stock on a lot of stuff. So I guess we get whatever we can get at the time.
As for customers' response to changing prices...
Well, you have a few of them may complain, but, if they need it, they buy it. And I guess it's more now purchasing what you need and not what you want.
Major is now banking on the customary Easter sales boost from the popular Jamaican Easter buns. But as the globe continues its battle with inflation, he suggests shoppers may need to be more frugal, something not necessarily good for him because he wants as many customers as possible, but understands how the market works. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Now, on the other end, the rising cost of food hitting Bahamians where it hurts most to their pocketbooks. But as typically the case, some are better able to absorb the increase than others.
Basically, it hasn't really affected me personally in my shopping habits because I still have to get what I have to get. Everyone still have to buy what they have to buy, but it would impact us if the prices are up, So basically, I guess you can say that, yes, I've been impacted by the prices being hiked. Now, I still have my same habits personally, but for others, they might can't cope. So it depends on, if you're financial in order to continue buying what you used to buy, because if prices goes up, definitely the money would be less.
Meantime, Angela Taylor says she's had to alter her shopping habits, while Jamal Dean says he mainly purchases noodles and spaghetti, and that he hasn't been impacted much.
It's been pretty good. It wasn't that bad at all. So I try to spend less instead of spending more, But again, getting what you go to shop for most weekends like that. So I usually go like weekends.
It's pretty much the same thing. Get the same thing every day for lunch, so it don't really matter. I barely even notice the price change.
Well, the cost of wheat has gone up, and with it, of course, bread, rice, pasta, and other grain-based pantry items. Our Crystal Darling speaks with an economist on the issue.
Wheat, the core of the bread basket and the base of every grain. But with two major wheat-producing countries, Russia and Ukraine, at war, there's been a global shortage. But as far as CEO of Fidelity Bank, Alan Bowe, sees it, considering the Bahamas imports the bulk of what it consumes, the hike in wheat price was inevitable.
When you think about electricity costs, and we'll come to fuel, the fuel costs starting to go up, so BPL costs. The flour that they are importing, the yeast, all of the other materials that go into it. So whilst we may not be buying wheat from Ukraine or Russia, we are buying flour from North America, South America, who they themselves are buying wheat from Russia, Ukraine. And so if we don't produce locally, then we are subject to world prices. We import price inflation whenever it takes place.
So what happens when the cost of a basic food item increases? Well, turns out people will not stop buying.
You may find persons giving up other staple foods in order to consume bread simply because that peanut butter and jelly sandwich is still going to provide you the greatest sustenance in terms of feeling full. As opposed to other items that are also going up in price, oranges, orange juice, and other more healthy items, unfortunately, sometimes get sacrificed when the items that are easiest to purchase and provide the greatest amount of what it seems like fullness, then those things will continue to have demand.
And as the Bahamas continues its stride to make a full rebound post-COVID, Bowe shares this advice.
So inflation was always expected as a part of the economic recovery. The rate of inflation that is taking place because of this conflict that has taken place in Eastern Europe is unexpected, both in North America and the rest of the world. So the reality is, and as us as citizens and Bahamians have to appreciate that there was a reason why our forefathers said you have to plan for a rainy day, because you don't know when it's going to come. So I know everyone is going to say, well, it's been hailing and it's been hurricanes since 2019. But what it means is we have to learn to effectively cut our suit to fit the cloth. That we need to be more deliberate in terms of our spending patterns and how we stretch that dollar.
In order to curb inflation in the future, the country would need to produce more of what it consumes. Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.
Education's virtual platform may have thrown a monkey wrench in her transition from junior to senior high school, but Sky Knowles' goals haven't at all changed. LaDawn Davis caught up with this future attorney and tells us what she's been up to in this week's Student of the Week. Where are they now?
I'm not knowing anybody, no teachers, just like, am I really in a new school?
That's former D.W. Davis Junior High School head girl, now C.I. Gibson Rattler, Sky Knowles, reflecting on how difficult it was transitioning from one school into another in a virtual environment. But this straight-A student says a global pandemic will not stop her academic journey.
I feel like I've got more enthusiasm now that I'm face-to-face. Like, I'm glad to come to school, glad to see faces, new faces, and my teacher's voice, seeing the enthusiasm, how my teachers teach is so encouraging when you want to learn a new subject instead of just being online and have to please turn your cameras, please turn on your mic.
Sky, who plans to sit at least 10 or more BGCSE national examinations in about 2 years, says it's another step to realizing her big dreams.
Before I move on and graduate, I still want to continue with my long-term goal of becoming a head girl for every school I go to. For example, I was head girl at primary school and at W. Davis, so I'm hoping and believing in myself to become head girl and valedictorian once again. I am planning on getting a scholarship for university, like the start-off university, so that I can study law to become a business lawyer.
Sky, whose parents also attended C.I. Gibson years ago, encouraged her peers, especially young women who are struggling due to social ills, to continue to strive for good grades.
You may feel tired, like you're working so much, you're like, I don't feel like this is going on. You're probably being frustrated from family life, school life. You're probably losing in touch with people. You're feeling like you're just detached from others around you, like you're losing in touch with reality. You're probably on the last brim, but like holding there, the patience, what I went through, I cried some nights, if I'm being honest, because of the stress and frustration. Like once you hold in there, and then I started to pray more, I started to worship God more. And like where you hold on for so long, not giving up and having patience, and then all of a sudden like your success just hits you out of nowhere, like, This is what I've been working for.
The future business attorney remains hopeful that the expertise she expects to gain in university will enable her to help small and medium-sized businesses in this country to flourish no matter the storm they face. LaDawn Davis with the Student of the Week, Where Are They Now?
Well, the Bahamas National Youth Choir promising an exciting evening for the public as it kicks off its concert season tonight. The choir is in a new space amid renovations at the Dundas. We caught up with the choir director during the dress rehearsal last evening.
It's been 2 years since the Bahamas National Youth Choir has hit the stage, but from the energy at the dress rehearsal Thursday night, they're ready to go. Director Dexter Fernandez says concert attendees can expect a lot from the show.
This being our 30th concert season, this is a difference inside the presentation. There is something that we're talking about that reaches out to those who might have lost a loved one. God being our guide and protector, and then we go into our international folk and then our Bahamian folk. And so we want people to find some type of joy during these hard times, during these reopening. We want them to know the song says Jehovah Sabaoth, that says the God is protecting and guiding you. So this year's 30th concert season is a mixture of music video, different mediums. We have music videos, and we move into live presentations. So it's a different element that a person will come and see.
The pandemic forced the choir to adopt a different approach in getting their songs out to the masses.
We partnered with the National Trust. We branded ourselves differently throughout the Caribbean and the United States. One of our music videos even received an international award. And so we found different ways to capture Bahamian folk. And that's one of the mandate of the choir, of bringing Bahamian folk to a different generation. And so the Song of the Tribune, as they will see inside there, we used with Dasque, a local comedian, that presented an old story.
And now that the choir is back at it, the next step is, of course, an overseas performance.
So this year we've been invited to the Mid-American concert in Carnegie Hall, and so we go there next month. A small portion of the group will go there next month. And then this summer, we are hoping, with the help of the public, that we can travel to France. From August 6th through the 17th, we will be in Paris, France.
So if you're free tonight and want to enjoy the sounds of the Bahamas National Youth Choir, then Bahamas Harvest West is the place to be. Jiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
Well, as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
Discover the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
I discovered the possibilities.
To be the best, world-class athletes depend on a live to stay connected. We are committed to promoting Bahamian excellence locally and on an international stage. With hundreds of thousands of people depending on us, we must be a strong, fast, and flexible network. With speeds as fast as Joanna and plans as flexible as Donald, there's a plan suitable for everyone starting as low as $1 a day. With our Freedom Plan, choose the way you want to be connected with a 1-day or 7-day Freedom Plan. With our 30-day Liberty Plan, choose the right bundle of talk, text, and data. And for postpaid, we've got Liberty bundles loaded with talk, text, data, and even roaming included. Alive's hard-working network was built for hard-working people. No matter your goal, we have a plan that you can depend on. We are Alive.
I've always worked in business solutions, commercial customers. We've worked with and helped them to become successful through communications technology. It forces me to be on my game in terms of learning about technology, learning about communications, learning about mobile and fixed. So I'd advise any young woman wanting to get into the technology field to take every opportunity that you can to learn, because you just never know where the job opportunities will be in 1 or 3 or 5 years.
Philanthropist and Chief Executive Officer of Electro Telecom, Paul Smith, recently made a generous monetary donation to schools in the Western Primary District. The funds mobilized the Leap Ahead Literacy Enrichment Program. District Superintendent Janice Moss.
Today marks the convergence of the Ministry of Education and corporate sponsorship. I am particularly pleased that Mr. Paul Smith, one of the leading philanthropists in our country, has committed to supporting the government's effort to provide quality education to its children.
Mr. Smith says the initiative is a collaborative effort involving teachers, parents, the police, and corporate Bahamas.
So I encourage you all to take every advantage that you have when you're back in school. In order for the program to work, it's going to take the teachers and it's going to take the parents. You noticing why the police are here? They're here to partner with us just the same, because they're going to ensure that in the evening that the teachers are not left in the school alone, and they will come by and they would make checks to make sure that you all are safe.
The presentation was made at Albury-Sale Primary School. Additional schools to benefit from the donation were Yellow Elder and Woodcock Primary. I'm Adama Williams for Ed Talk.
When you wanna save money on your tile supplies, who you gonna call? The Tile King. When you tile your house and you wanna look good, who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Visit the new Tile King showroom, which is internationally recognized as the finest tile showroom in the Caribbean, located in the Builders Mall on Wolf Road.
The Tile King. Who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Tiles on everything.
My name is Rawiya Hannah Raming, and I am the VP of Legal and Regulatory at Cable Bahamas Limited and Alive. I believe that a key to my success was never being afraid to continue learning and ask questions, particularly for a woman. I think any woman getting into a profession should never be afraid to shine or to show how smart she is, and they should not be afraid to climb and to learn.
North Andros farmer Rai Badu is celebrating the harvest of hundreds of onions on his extensive backyard farming project. He's excited to share the process with other growers as his harvesting is reaping big rewards in more ways than one.
This is the third time I'm growing onion, but I've been growing a variety of crops for the last 33 years since I came to this country. Onion is a leaf crop. Every leaf you see grow up from the onion is another leaf shed at the bottom. A lot of people don't know that. It's a 4.5, 5 months crop. It depends on your how you take care of them. Water and fertilizer, you can push it in 4 months and a week. And they weigh up to 1 pound, 2 pounds, and 2.5 pounds.
While Badu grows a number of items, this Nicholstown resident is hoping to advance his onion production capacity by way of a modernized drying facility. He says once his curing method is developed, he hopes to one day provide stores nationwide with quality products.
The soil in the Bahamas and the atmosphere in the Bahamas to grow onion is more appropriate than any other country, including Barbados, that boast about their onion. This one is called the Mercedes. The seeds originated from Israel, actually. You can manipulate the size of these onions.
Well, it's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, McKishler. At this hour, we're under partly cloudy skies after the passage of a frontal system. The temperature is now 79 degrees. Relative humidity, 73%. The winds are out of the north at 8 miles per hour. Your barometric pressure, 1,014.6 millibars. That's 29.96 inches, and the pressure is steady. Temperatures around the islands this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. It is 79 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Green Toll Key, and Marshall, Babico. The Berry Islands at 78 also in Alistown, Bimini. Harbor Island, 81 degrees. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, 82, 83 in Black Point, Exuma, and Kemps Bay, South Andros. Fresh Week in Central Andros have a temperature of 81 degrees. Alistown, Cat Island, San Salvador, and Rumkey, 83. Georgetown, Exuma, 82. In Betsy Bay, Maguana, Crooked Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, Ragged Island, and Acklands, they're all reporting 82 degrees. Matthewtown and Nago, 83, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 81 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Center. In the northwest and central islands tonight through tomorrow, which is Saturday, the winds are going to be northwest to north at 10 to 15 knots, and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Tide-wise is going to be low at 7:42 this evening. You can expect another low tide at 9 tomorrow morning. In the southeast Bahamas through Saturday, southeast to south winds at 10 to 15 knots, wave heights also 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. And as we take you into Sunday for all areas, the winds remain out of the northwest to north at 10 to 15 knots. Wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Low tide on Sunday takes place at 9:59 in the morning with the high tide at 3:50 in the afternoon. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
That man in the boat passing through. Hey. Now what you gonna do? That man in the boat passing through. Hey. Now what you don't care if you're calling or not. Passing through. What? Now what you gonna do? That man in the boat passing through. Hey. Now what you gonna do? I find on something. Wind up on something, shake up on something, wind up on something, now dance up on something, wind up on something, shake up on something, wind up on something. It's regatta time, time to join the line, time to lose your mind, 'cause it's homecoming time.
And that's going to do it for your international temperatures brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, your extended weather forecast is still ahead.
My name is Alicia Poitea, and I've been using the Molfix brand for almost 10 years now. What I love about the Molfix brand is that it is of great quality, and I currently use it on my 2-year-old and my 5-month-old. I haven't had any issues with irritability or rashes or anything of that sort. What I love most about the Molfix brand is that I get value for money, and that to me is awesome.
Samantha's always on point. She doesn't miss a thing. When she signs up for any insurance policy, she reads all the fine print. She knows what's covered, what's not covered, and she's aware of her deductibles. When it comes to insurance, it pays to know your policy. Review every insurance policy so you know what you're covered for. This message was brought to you by the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas.
The COVID-19 pandemic isn't over yet. COVID-19 vaccines and boosters are now available at South Beach Clinic on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. On Wednesday at Flamingo Gardens Clinic, 1 to 5 p.m. Elizabeth Estates Clinic, 3 to 6 p.m. and Fleming Street from 4 to 6 p.m. And at the Mall at Marathon, Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Visit vax.gov.bs to book your appointment. Walk-ins are welcome. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, PAHO, WHO, and USA.
It's raining specials this April at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Libby Spaghetti and Meatballs, 15-ounce, $1.29. Rainbow Mackerel, 15-ounce, $1.69. Red Seedless Grapes, $1.99 per pound. Premium Boneless Chuck Steak or Roast, $6.99 per pound. Great American Raw Shrimp, 12-ounce, $5.99. April is a great month to save at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
...2022 is a year of positional manifestation.
My God,
I just said something. A year of positional. Now, I know you may have never heard that before. It means, my brothers and sisters, if you are positioned, you are ready for the manifestation. God is going to reveal himself in the lives of people who know their God.
Sundays at 8:30 a.m. on ZNS TV 13.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The Miami Marlins will host a Bahamian Appreciation Celebration on June 25th when they take on the New York Mets. The day will showcase Bahamian big leaguer Jazz Chisholm along with Bahamian heritage.
We'll be able to showcase our cultural expression of Junkanoo, food, and many other items and things that allow us to show who we are as a people. I intend to be there live in color. I want Brad to know if the Prime Minister doesn't show up. Like I say, keep your speed clock on to see what my pitch will be like. But we also want to make sure that we celebrate Jazz and his accomplishments and his achievement with the Marlins and let the Marlins know that we appreciate them. They're a city just a few miles away from us.
Midweek play taking place in the college baseball season. A good game for Dante Stewart. He finished off 3 for 5 with a double, 2 runs batted in and a run scored, but Northwestern State would go down to Lamar 9-6. Semi-final round play in the Americas Champions League on court last night. Tavario Miller and Minas in another all-Brazilian matchup, this time against Sao Paulo. After holding off Flamengo the night before, Minas no match for Sao Paulo. They went down 93-79. The Long Island native 5 of 12 from the field. He finished up with 10 points, 4 rebounds in 22 minutes. Minas now returning to Brazilian League play next Tuesday against Bauru. The University of the Bahamas Mingos men's basketball team suffering a sweep in the Province Basketball Association playoffs. The first set of local games played in more than 2 years. The Mingos were eliminated in 2 straight games by the Rockets. The squad has dramatically changed since the last time they competed locally. Only 3 members of that team that last played in March 2020 returned, as many have graduated. After getting blown out in Game 1, 101-58, the Mingos played better in the series finale, but still went down 102-81.
Much better effort tonight. I thought we really showed that we can compete. We came out with more intensity. We played as a unit. Once we played for each other, we'll be all right. Like I said, they were aggressive, very confident with our shooting. Defensively, we picked up the pressure. We were very tenacious.
The UB men's soccer team has been playing in a series of scrimmages as the side gets ready for the eventual return of play locally. After losing their first 2 matches, the Mingos were looking to change that trend against United FC, and they started strong, scoring first. United responded to end the first half, but the Mingos found the back of the net again in the second half and eventually go on for the 2-1 victory. After a strong performance at the Mass Rider Open last weekend, Bahamian Gabrielle Gibson has been named the Summit League Track Athlete of the Week. Gibson was 4th in the 200 meters, clocking a career best 23.79. She also finished 3rd in the 100-meter hurdles and 13.32, which moved her up to 27th nationally in the event. Gibson rounded out her meet running a leg of the 4x1 that won the event in 45.87. This is Gibson's second career Outdoor Athlete of the Week award. The inaugural Old Timers Memorial Softball Tournament on the schedule this weekend at the Bankers Field. It will give players the opportunity to get back on the diamond for the first time since the start of the pandemic, while also honoring those who've paved the way.
We have 9 teams competing in the tournament, and we'll see which team will rise at the top in softball for Old Timers. Also, the Home Run Derby will feature the name of Cresswell Pratt. The trophy is named after him for the Home Run Derby, being called the Bahama. Then we have Lorenzo Donia Lockett, who was part of the first group that started Old Timers. The championship trophy will be in his name, and the most valuable player trophy will be named after Eddie Ford. It's also going to be recognizing the fallen members of our league, which include former Major League Baseball player Adam Brister and his brother Kelson Brister, along with Anthony Poca-Hyla, and about 16 other members we have lost since the pandemic. We will have a memorial plaque that will bear the names of all of our former members, and we'll have flowers that will be presented to their family members.
Day 1 of the 4th annual Fish-Off Tournament in the books down in Cat Island. Our Charles Fisher is there.
The boats started to come in as early as 4 o'clock. First in was Wade Seymour and crew.
It was a little rough, but manageable.
How far did you all have to go for it?
As far as, say, about 10 miles. 10 miles.
You happy with your day 1 kid?
Well, could have been better, but thank God.
Up next, Junior Edward Saunders.
Yeah, it was a little rough out there, you know, but we got over it, you know.
How were you all able to find your drop?
Basically, we live around here, so we know where all the jobs basically are, you know.
The Long Island boys, they were in unfamiliar territory, but they did bring in a good catch.
I know they're blind, so, you know, and we didn't know where to go, so we kind of run far and hope the best. But, yeah, but, you know, new, but guess what? This is our first time, and we went out there and we found some spots, so the second time around, we know where to go.
Lee Cabrera, 34 pounds. How did y'all catch that big one?
Oh, I can't tell you that. That's a secret.
Then it was time for the results.
In second position, with 116 points, Big V. And the winner for this competition is no other than Lady TT. And Lady T points are 152 points.
That's a look at sports. A check on weather up next.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
New year, new time. Watch Conversations with Christ every Sunday at 10 a.m. And I'll tell you why. Because God said 1,000 years is like a day for me. And that's why you could have a thief on the cross pray for just a few seconds and get forever, and get forgiveness, and get eternity. So every single Sunday for 30 minutes, we're going to praise God together. So every Sunday at 10 a.m., Conversations with Christ.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather, we had a front system pass through the northwest Bahamas, including the capital early this afternoon. It's now in the central Bahamas, making its way into the southeast Bahamas, and that's where the showers and isolated thunderstorms will be heading tonight. So we will remain with some cloudiness in the northwest Bahamas on the backside of that front system. And tonight, we're going in for partly to mostly cloudy. Low temperature tonight, about 72 degrees, but tomorrow night it's going to get a little cooler. Tomorrow, we're looking at cloudy with winds gradually subsiding, 81 degrees for high temperature, and your extended weather forecast, we're going to keep you in the low 80s right through the weekend and into the early part of next week. But those nighttime temperatures, as I promised you over the weekend, going to be in the 60s right into Sunday. Things will start warming up just a tad on Monday. We get you back into the low 70s before things start to get up in the mid 70s by Wednesday up next week. So some beautiful weather shaping up for the weekend, at least for the northwest and central Bahamas.
Well, thanks, Basil. That does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
You're watching the ZNS Network.